Hello and welcome to the Boss Guide portal. Feel free to click an annotation to see a strategy guide from me, TSW, on any of the bosses in 4.2 Firelands. Enjoy, and as always, thumb up the video, thanks. Hey guys, TSW here with TGN, and in this video I'm going to be going through our guild strategy for Beth'tilac on heroic mode, but for those of you still on normals, I'll also cover every ability on normal mode as well, and then simply point out when it's a heroic only ability. So this is a two-phase encounter, phase 1 having you deal with lots and lots of adds, kiting them and killing them correctly, and then phase 2 being an all-out nuke fest, and then sub 30% popping raid cooldowns to stay alive. Okay, so let's first of all start off with the web floor. At the moment I'm on the ground floor, but you can see the web coming down from the ceiling. Clicking this will enable you to go onto the web floor, which is where Beth'tilac lies for phase 1. When you are up on the web phase, you'll have to compete with meteors. These will slowly fall from the ceiling and inflict mild amount of fire damage if they hit you, but that's not the main concern. The main concern is that it will cause a hole in the web and you will fall through, and this isn't good if you're damaged, but even worse if you're a healer. And again, the worst is if you're the tank on the web floor and you get dropped down, because Beth'tilac will aggro someone else and then kill them. So highest priority is to avoid the meteors. Beth'tilac also has an energy bar. Once this reaches 0, she'll cast Smouldering Devastation, which will one-shot anybody on the web floor. So when there's 2 seconds left from Devastation, make sure you jump down in the centre of the web. There will be a hole. You will get a slow fall effect, and you will obviously avoid the Smouldering Devastation. Our guild recommends a 2-second window for you to jump down, because if it's 1 second, it's very easy for you to just take that one tick of Smouldering Devastation and you'll get one shot. Also, Beth'tilac has a consume effect, which will come into play in phase 2. So that is the spider web upper floor phase sorted. Okay, so now we're going to talk about downstairs on the main floor. We have 3 varieties of adds here. We have the Cinderweb Spinners, which are the guys who are dropping down from the ceiling now. Very covert ops. We also have the Cinderweb Drones, which are the big guys which are tanked. And we also have the Cinderweb Spiderlings, which are kited. We have Shadow Priests, Death Knights, and also Hunters, slowing them down and killing them. You want to be slowing down the Cinderweb Spiderlings, because if they reach a drone and they run directly to the drone will be healed for 20%, also increasing its damage by 20%, haste by 20%, and movement by 20%. And on heroic mode, the drone will fixate on a random raid member, as long as they're on the ground floor, and run to them, attacking them for very small amounts of damage, because when fixated, the drone's damage is reduced by 75%, so damage isn't an issue. However, if it's running to somebody who's kiting the spiderlings and it runs through the spiderlings, it will consume the spiderling, and for every spiderling it runs through, it will heal for 20%, increase damage by 20%, haste by 20%, and movement speed by 20%, which isn't good, because this phase 1 is all about maximising your damage, both controlling the adds on this ground floor, but also on the web floor, doing as much damage as you can to Beth'tilac. But I'll get into more of that as we hit phase 2. Also, on heroic only, there will be a 4th add called a Cinderweb Broodling. Now, these Cinderweb Broodlings I don't think they're able to be slowed, so they need to be single targeted by your ranged, and when they do explode or die, they explode if they reach a raid member. So when they die or reach a raid member, they will do 50k damage in an 8-yard radius. So this can be soaked up by someone who has high HP or is able to heal themselves or has a bubble or anything like that that can reduce the damage, because ideally you don't want to be taking the full blow. And then there will be a pool, which you can see the squares of yellow on the floor. This will do quite a high amount of damage, and within 2-3 ticks you will die, and it's damage done every second, so if you're in it for 3 seconds you're going to die. So move out of that very quickly, and also call out on Ven if there's a Broodling running into the middle of the room, because that's where I'm going to be tanking my drone, and more than likely your tank's going to be tanking there as well, with your damage on the drone being very close to it as well. So that's not good if a Broodling explodes in the middle of the room. And lastly, for phase 1, the Cinder Web Spinners will do a Burning Acid ability, which will randomly select a raid member and do a mild amount of fire damage to them when they're dangling. And then on Heroic mode, if they aren't taunted before the next wave of spinners come, they will cast a Fiery Web Spin. This will have a 25-second duration and will stun the random raid member it's targeted on. This can only be stopped if the spinner is killed or taunted down. Okay, and now we've hit phase 2. We have had 3 Smouldering Devastations on the web platform, and now Beth'tilac has come down and said hello to the floor phase, the floor platform. It's crucial just before the 3rd Smouldering Devastation that you kill every single Cinderweb Spiderling, because like I said before, Beth'tilac has a Consume ability, and for every Spiderling that is alive in the zone, Beth'tilac will consuming it, healing her 10% per Spiderling, or it may be 20%, I'm not quite sure on that, but you can't kill her on Heroic at least if she consumes a single Spiderling, and it's not a case of them, oh, just being in melee range, okay, consume. Oh, they're running up to Beth'tilac, we can kill them as they run towards her. No, she does like leans forward with her arms and consumes them at range. So you have to be careful and make sure that someone calls out Smouldering Devastation in 10 seconds, and then every single DPS's main priority is the Spiderlings, or else quite simply Beth'tilac will heal and the fight won't be possible. With regards to tanking in phase 2, whoever Beth'tilac is focusing on will get a debuff called Widow's Kiss. What this will do is reduce the healing on the tank, and the other tank needs to taunt off immediately. It's quite a unique ability. It will start off reducing healing on that tank by a small amount, and then over its 20-second duration it will build up, and then at the end of the debuff it will reduce healing by a lot, and then the debuff will quite simply run out and you'll go back to normal. I do die here, which isn't ever good, but I get back up, and I really did think that, oh my god, like, you can't have tanks dying on the best of guild kills, but somehow we are able to maintain the DPS and kill the boss. So yeah, sub 30% we pop Hero, and then the boss has a Enrage ability, increasing its damage by 5%, and it stacks. The boss continues to do her, what's it called? The Ember Flare ability, which is what happens when you first engage Beth'tilac and she's up alone on the web platform. She'll continue this into phase 2, and mixed in with the Enraged stacking buff, she'll do lots and lots of raid damage throughout the fight. And as you can see here, you go so low during the end of the encounter, and you want to be popping all your raid cooldowns to survive. So that's been Beth'tilac Heroic/Normal. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and click an annotation on the screen to be taken to another guide by me, TSW with TGN, and as always, best of luck with your PvE raids, and I'll catch you guys later. Cheers.